Sarah Jacobson, Marketing Artfully. So today I want to talk to you about selling on eBay. If you don't want to set the world on fire, have a big store, anything like that, you just know that you have some things that you would like to list and you want to do it with a little bit of thought and make the most money and kind of the easiest way possible. So I have a friend, Susie, an online friend, Susie Blackman, and she has a whole bunch of this kind of items. So she has all kinds of vintage, like vintage dresses, vintage boots, vintage cowboy gear, right? That she wants to sell. So we're going to focus right now on this one item. We're going to say, okay, so just screen capturing her video. Usually you would have some pictures on your computer of it or on your phone. You can do this on your phone too. I have a friend who thinks that it's easier to just take the pictures on her phone and upload them. I find just pulling them off from my computer is easiest, but it doesn't matter. But we're going to set up these listings on just the eBay site. Now, first, let's talk about why, if I love Etsy and I think it's a great place to sell, why am I suggesting that my friend Susie sells on eBay? Well, a couple of different reasons. If you're going to sell on Etsy, you kind of have to have a store. It has to be curated. You're going to have people talking to you. It's way more of a social place. So let's think of it like Facebook, right? Like you have to talk to people. You have to show up every day. You have to do all these things. And eBay is more like Instagram. You just go there, you have a good time, you have a party, nobody really needs to talk to you. They might talk to you, it doesn't matter. So eBay is a great place if you just want to sell one or two things. You could sell just one thing and there's definitely a chance that somebody would buy it. Another reason why I'm suggesting eBay for Susie is that eBay is a very good search engine and people can do saved searches, meaning they will get an email every time, and I'm going to do this, eBay. So I have a couple saved searches set up. So every time somebody lists a pin, vintage Wendy's pins, things like that, eBay emails that to me every day. So there could be people out there in the world who have a vintage Western search saved, vintage belts, cowboy belts, things like that. So as soon as Susie would list her item, they would get an email about that, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here. I'm going to show you how easy/hard it is, okay? So you're going to go to sell. You're going to sign in. You have to have an account. You have to have a PayPal. So the very first thing is you're going to go to My eBay and you're going to selling. I think it asks you for it. This is the only thing I can't do because all I had to do was hook up my PayPal. They use PayPal to process the payments and they use PayPal to pay you, which is awesome. Okay. So you're going to go to your listings and it's just going to say create listing. Okay. So we're going to say create listing, single listing. Okay. Now, this is very cool about eBay because we're going to say, she says it's a conch belt, a concho belt. Okay. So we're going to say that. So we're going to say vintage and then some of the eBay people say VTG because the old timers did VTG because you only have so many spaces to use. So some people may be looking for VTG, vintage. And then we have this kind of belt. Okay. Okay. Now we want to start looking at the what they're bringing up. Okay, so we have Vintage, we have jewelry and watches, ethnic, regional, tribal, American Indian, other Native American jewelry. Okay, so first off, it's not jewelry, I don't think. That is considered more of an accessory. When you get into the Native American, a lot of times you have to prove that it's Native American Indian. So we're not doing that. So we do have clothing, shoes, and accessories. Oh, here we go. This is better. So we have jewelry and watches. See, it's saying, what happens if we take this out? Vintage belt. What if we say vintage Western belt? Because we want to get it in the right category so people will find it. Okay. So I feel like it's either going to be shoes, vintage accessories, or I like that it was Western. Hang on, let's see. I would say maybe down here, if that's where they want to put it, this vintage, ethnic, regional, tribal, southwestern, because that is I would try either way. Okay, but I like that this says vintage. It could either be vintage accessories or I would tend to do accessories belt. So, yay. All right, now it's going to tell you how many characters you have left. So we have 48 characters left. And how do we figure out what we should put in those characters? So first off, silver. So if this was sterling silver, but we do want to have silver. And then this, the cutout part of it, is that a star? So I'm going to go with star because stars seem to be star flower. Okay, so this is what it technically is. But then I'm going to come here and I'm going to say eBay. And I'm going to say vintage Western belt. All right, so what happened? So we've got wide vintage leather belt, belt buckles. Let's see what happens if we put that same word in. Just because I don't know it doesn't mean nobody knows it. Okay. So, yeah, it's that. Okay, southwestern style metal. Ooh, we need the length. Okay, so we would want metal. We would want like 33 inches or whatever it, whatever that length would be because we see that that's a really big deal. USA made. USA is a big deal, so maybe we say USA. All right. Silver, conch, embossed. See, I don't think it's embossed. I want to know what that cutout stuff is. So you don't have to know what anything is. You can just look and see what it's... see, it's sort of like that. Vintage Brighton. So if Susie has the brand name of that belt and it has a brand name, you would put the brand name in, right? All right. So I'm not finding what I want. Let's take this out and let's say metal because I want whatever that cutout stuff is, I think is an actual thing. I think it's a fancy thing. All right, well, maybe it's not that fancy a thing. All right, so where are we at with this 15 characters left? So we got extra characters. So let's start looking. Western style, so we put style in here, Western style. And then we don't have southwestern, right? So we took out south. We didn't ever have south, so let's put in southwestern. And if it's not southwestern, then Susie can use a different thing. Okay, so that'll get us going. I think that's great. Subtitle you're not going to use because they charge you money for it. Custom label. This is going to be kind of your inventory, right? So for me, I put where I got it. So she could say it was mine, how much you paid for it. So say she knows generally she paid like $85 when she bought it. And then the location. So I have front room 1, which is the first drawer of the thing in my front room. The nice thing about this is when you print your shipping label to ship things out, it'll have this on here and you don't have to go searching for where it is. You just say, okay, it's in the front room 1. Okay, you won't have store categories because you don't have a store. You're just listing your one item. We don't have variations. It'll say UPC and it has there. We don't have any UPC code because it's handmade, it's 30 years old, it's 60 years old, whatever. In this one, it says condition not applicable to this listing. Now, if we pick the Native American Southwestern one, it might be, you might have that. And then in that case, what you're going to do, because I'll show you condition description. You would put it in there unless it doesn't matter. And then you're going to add your photos. The more photos you have, the better. What you want to do is you want to think of what do they want to know about it. So they want to see that. They want to see the whole thing. Maybe she has a picture of herself in it. They want to see the back of that. They want to see what the clasp looks like. They want to see all those things. So you want to make sure that it would be as if, and this is what I do, is I pick something and say I want to have this tube of stuff. So first off, I want to see the front, I want to see the back, I want to see what kind of cap it has. I would probably open it and I would say, okay, what does this kind of thing look like? You want to like focus in on words. So if it says, say it's 925 silver, she would take a picture of the silver bit. Okay. I would like to see you use all 12 pictures, but you don't have to. Okay. Then they're going to say, is it these things? And usually eBay knows what things they are based on what you've said. Does it have a brand? So if it had a brand, say it was, well, if handmade is there, but say it was Tony Llama, you would put your brand in there. We don't have MPN, so don't worry about it. It is an original, so that's important because people will have searches done according to original. If you know the decade, so since Susie bought it, she might know that it was from the 1980s. Gender, it is a woman's belt. So the more of these things that she can fill out, the better. Look, this is sometimes fun. So Art Deco, Rockabilly, Victorian. It's worth taking a peek to see if it falls in there. This could be United States, I'm assuming. That matters to people like me. Okay, item description. You're going to want to be factual and not exaggerate. So you want to say, this is a 33-inch silver, whatever that thing is, concho Western belt from my personal collection. I got this in 1980 directly from the artist at a rodeo. I like to put things like dimensions. So it is 33 inches long by 3 inches tall by 2 inches deep, right? Like factually correct. If it is 925 silver, you would put 925 silver. Functionally, what you want to do is to give them factual information about this this item, right? You don't want to, like, it's really hard for me because in marketing, you want to try to sell them on it. On eBay, you don't want to say super nice, like, because then people could do a return based on, well, I didn't think it was super nice. These guys are very fact-based. You just put what it functionally is. I always put how I'm going to package it because so many people message me and say, could you please package this correctly? So I would say something like, I will be shipping this in a box with lots of padding to keep it safe. I don't get as many messages when I put it there, okay? So this is the two ways you could sell on eBay. You can either say a fixed price or auction style. Now, the benefits and the drawbacks. Auction style, say it's a really cool one and lots of people are looking, and you start it low and you do it for 7 days, and then you get $1 billion, right? Like somebody comes along and wants to pay you $1 million. But Susie's goal is to make this easy. So what some people do is they'll do an auction style for 7 days, and then if it doesn't sell, they'll turn it over to another one. But what I would recommend for Susie is to find a good price and make it fixed. And then good till canceled means that she'll be charged like 20 cents a month, something like that, until it sells. Okay? You're going to say, start my listings when I submit them. What should she price it at? So first off, she could price it at whatever she wants, but let's go here. And we're saying vintage Western metal belt, and I clicked advanced, and we're going to click on sold listings, and we want to see how much these things are selling for. So a lot of belt buckles selling. Oh, there it is. That's brand new. Gotta be careful because they use vintage in there. Okay, so belt buckles, I've found I can sell anywhere, like they're doing between 35 and 19. So each belt buckle, let's keep going. So 24. We don't have buckle in there, do we? Nope. Let's take metal out and see if we get just belts, because we do want to know sold listings. Okay, there's one. 1250. See, 1255 bits. So they put it on an auction and it only went up to 1250 and there were 5 bits. Okay, so if somebody who is absolutely dying to have a belt like that, or who's going to a rodeo next month, or who has a competition the following month, didn't happen to come onto eBay this month, they just sold that belt that could be a $35, $100, $200 belt for $12. So I would rather take my time and do it. Let's keep looking. Okay, there's a belt like hers. So $10.99 plus $8 shipping. All right, what are these other ones? $39.99. $24.54. Oh, there's one. $34. So I would say hers is nicer than that. I would say the lowest price I would list it for is $34. I tend to list things high. So say it's just a silver belt. It's not sterling, right? Because sterling would make a difference. I would maybe list it for $74.99. And then this is kind of cool. So I like this a lot. This is best offer. So say you want to get at least $65 for it, right? So you would say automatically accept offers of at least $65 and automatically decline offers that are lower than $59. So like if somebody's offering you $12.50 for it, I don't even want to hear about that. But so what it'll do is anywhere between $59 and $65, they'll send it to you. If they do, or say you say Susie really doesn't want, less than, if she doesn't want less than 70, then I would make this 80, $79.99, and make this $70, right? So you want to keep it like, so if somebody does offer you less, you don't want it to be like so tight, like if it's under $77, but not, don't do that. But if you would accept a lower price, then you can do that. How many do you have? We always have one as vintage. It is not private. We don't want to make a donation. You have to put your PayPal in here. And I do put request immediate payment with buy now, because if they don't do immediate payment with buy now, that means they cannot pay for it, and then you have to relist it. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Sales tax. So you can say to, like I do Florida, and our standard sales tax rate is 6%. it only applies to people who are purchasing from Florida. Now, Susie is not an all-the-time seller. I have a tax record, right? A tax license. Easy for me to say. So for Susie, I would say that I'm going to do this so that we have 0 in here. Sometimes you got to jury rig stuff, right, to make sure it works. Okay, so it's going to be 0%. She isn't selling these as a vendor, so hers would be 0. She's not going to collect tax, turn it into the state of Florida or wherever she lives. She lives in Alabama, so she's not going to be paying tax to Alabama. Okay, so we don't have that. Domestic returns accepted. I love when people say I won't accept returns. She has to accept returns. If it comes broken, if it's not right, she can go through PayPal, she can go through her credit card company. So I always do 30 days, and then the return shipping will be paid by the buyer, right? I don't want to pay the return shipping. Now, you might hear lots and lots of horror stories about people returning things. I have sold hundreds and hundreds of things through my Etsy and my eBay store. I hardly ever get returns. And when I get returns, it's generally because, it's generally because I've listed something wrong. Say I said it was a 33-inch belt and it was a 32-inch belt. Well, it didn't fit on the lady's waist, right? So just be careful when you measure things. We don't have replacement international returns. I do not allow. So for Susie, is she going to sell domestically, meaning United States, or is she going to sell internationally? I would say that she should probably start seeing if she can sell it international or just in the United States. So now we're going to do the domestic shipping. And I do calculated, and it's based on the location. So I'm saying I will do UPS media mail. She could do free shipping, right? She could just say, I am going to pay for the shipping and then build it into the cost. So say it's $75 and she knows it's over £1. So it's going to cost her about $8 to mail it, you know, roll it up and put it in a priority box. Say it's going to cost $8 to mail it. She could, you know, say it's free shipping, but I just have them calculate it. So I will do, so I can't do media mail. Media mail is not a belt. So we got to take this one off. So we could say UPS ground. I like to do UPS retail, USPS retail ground, because then I can just put it out for my mail lady. Okay. Or take it to the post office, right? That's easy peasy. And then priority mail I will do. And then you could offer an additional service. So say you would do Priority Express, right? Priority Express. FedEx ground. So say you're willing to go to FedEx. You're just going to print off all your labels from here. I don't offer local pickup. I don't want to do that. My handling time, 1 business day. Now, I am a business person. She could do, like, say, 3 business days in case she wants to go out of town. No big deal. If somebody is buying that belt, it's a one-of-a-kind piece. They will probably wait 3 business days. Handling costs. Okay, I have a sign that is 8 feet wide and 4 feet high in my office. I would charge a handling cost for that because I would have to pay at UPS to get it packaged. Now, I would not charge a handling cost on a belt that will fold up into a 7x7x6 or even smaller priority box. Sell internationally. So if you want to sell, the nice thing about eBay is they have an international global shipping program where you would just ship it to Kentucky. You don't have to ship it internationally. You don't have to worry about anything. You just say sell internationally with the global shipping program. Now, it costs them quite a bit, so I don't get very many because this is the only way I'll do it. But then you don't have to worry about shipping it and it takes too long to get there and they're sad or whatever. eBay takes care of all of that. You could also say, no, I don't even want to do that. Like, I just want to sell to the United States, which is just fine. Now, you want to say how big it is. Now, most of her stuff would fit very easily in a 7x7x6 box that you get from the United States Postal Service. Hang on. Okay, you can get this for free if you go on to USPS.org.gov, something like that. They'll even bring it right to your house. Okay, and then you just want to weigh it. So that looks like a pretty heavy belt. So I'm going to say with the box and the shipping, it weighs 1 pound, 8 ounces. Okay. If it's over a pound, you cannot ship it first class. You have to ship it ground. You have to ship it priority. You could say, okay, I don't want to do anything but priority mail because priority mail has $100 included insurance already on it. And it's like you could just say that is the only way I'm willing to ship. Because all of her items probably, I would think, are going to be over a pound. So then you would just do that. You don't need any excluded locations because you're doing it. I'm shipping it from my house. They're going to ask you that. I pay 25 cents because I have a store. You may pay a little bit more. And then I would say preview listing, see what it looks like. Everything looks fine. We didn't have the condition. That wasn't something we could do. I filled in all the things. I have my talkie talks. And then you would just say list item, which I'm not going to do. So hopefully that helps. If you are just selling a little onesie, do not get a store. You don't need a store if you're just selling a few things out of your collection. That way you can make a little money on the side and not have to make it a big deal. Hopefully that helps. Tara Jacobson, Marketing Artfully.